Welcome back, everyone, to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful concept straight from the fantastic minds at Smart Hustle. We're going to tackle a core theme that literally affects absolutely every single one of us striving for workplace productivity and trying to hit those big corporate team goals. We're talking about why consistency, just showing up regularly day in and day out, often matters so much more than feeling motivated. Let's get right into it. Okay, so tell me if this sounds familiar. Have you ever felt incredibly motivated during a Monday morning project kickoff, only to feel completely 100% unmotivated by the time Friday rolls around? Right? It's a universal professional experience. You start the week with this incredible energy and a crystal clear vision for your team, but then, as the week wears on, that fire just kind of fizzles out. By Friday afternoon, the absolute last thing you want to do is push that project forward. Well, this naturally leads us to wonder, why do some leaders and some teams just continue making meaningful progress, even when they clearly don't feel inspired? Like, what is their secret? We see these people consistently hitting all their milestones, and it's super easy to assume they just have this endless well of inspiration. But what if motivation isn't actually the secret to long-term professional growth at all? Section 1, the motivation trap. Why relying on feelings doesn't work long-term. So here's the thing, motivation relies on temporary emotional highs. And sure, it feels incredibly powerful when you have it, right? But it's fleeting. Consistency, on the other hand, is reliable, steady action. Now, I know it might sound a little boring compared to the thrill of being highly motivated, but it is absolutely crucial and incredibly effective for achieving lasting results. Because the reality we all have to face is that motivation is just a temporary state. Think about all the unpredictable variables that naturally cause our daily motivation to rise and fall. You've got your mood, the amount of stress you're under, your physical environment, or even just how much sleep you managed to get last night. Throw in random daily experiences, like a terrible commute or a really frustrating client email, and boom, your motivation is completely wiped out. That makes it a very difficult, shaky foundation to try and build a successful career on. Waiting until you feel inspired before taking action is actually a massive trap. So many professionals fall into this. We wait until the conditions are just perfect or until we feel a sudden surge of energy before we even start tackling a complex project. But because motivation relies on all those unpredictable factors we just talked about, some days it shows up and other days it just doesn't. And if you and your team wait for it, well, you're going to end up doing a whole lot of waiting. Which brings us to a somewhat harsh but necessary truth. Inconsistent action usually produces inconsistent results. When your project's progress depends entirely on these fleeting feelings, your output becomes completely unpredictable. You literally cannot build reliable, long-term corporate success on a foundation of temporary emotional highs. It just doesn't work. Section 2, building real momentum. The power of repeating small actions regularly. Now, consistency works entirely differently. It focuses strictly on repeating small, regular actions. We're not talking about grand, sweeping gestures here. It usually just looks like simple daily professional routines. We're talking about reading just a few pages of an industry report each morning, or maybe practicing a new software skill for 10 short minutes, learning one tiny new thing about your market. Really, it's just about showing up. The hidden magic of this approach, though, is that small, repeated actions over time create real momentum. And paradoxically, that momentum is exactly what makes taking the next action so much easier for you and your team. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. You don't need a massive surge of motivation to keep a project moving forward. You just need to keep tapping it forward, day after day. Section 3. The power of habits. How systems replace the need for inspiration. So, behavioral researchers who study how we act often talk about this concept called decision fatigue. Basically, this is the mental effort and energy required just to decide to begin an action. The beautiful thing about using habit building as a core team management strategy is that when workflows become routine, it drastically reduces that decision-making effort. Way less mental energy is required just to start the task. And this is exactly why habits are the ultimate safety net for professional project management. Habits help your action continue even when your motivation is at rock bottom. By focusing on building really reliable systems, you ensure that on a totally unmotivated Friday afternoon, your team is still making progress. Not because they feel like it, but because it's simply what the system dictates. Section 4. Quiet but meaningful progress. Why consistency is often overlooked. You know, in the very beginning, progress from consistency looks incredibly slow. Like those small improvements in your daily workflow might seem totally insignificant on a day-to-day basis. But over time, those tiny improvements accumulate, they compound. Actually, the most meaningful corporate achievements and those super successful product launches are built strictly through this kind of repeated, quiet effort, rather than sudden, cinematic bursts of motivation. It's exactly how great leaders model consistency to maintain team momentum daily. So I want to turn this over to you for a second. What is one professional habit, or even just a simple routine, that you've been trying to build recently with your team? I really want you to actively think about this. And hey, let me know down in the comments. Because by identifying it, you can actually start relying on a system rather than just waiting around to feel inspired. As we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought. Progress doesn't always require feeling motivated. It simply requires showing up. Great leaders know that by modeling consistency every single day, they maintain that crucial team momentum. So keep building those systems. And definitely make sure you join us for our next explainer, where we'll be diving into why patience is becoming a truly rare skill in today's fast-paced world. Until then, keep showing up.